live trade this replay. I haven't looked at the chart. I obviously know that on the day it does turn into a more of a downtrend, but I don't know how the price action moves throughout the day. I haven't looked at it. Um, all I know is starting this trade, we've got our 200 SMA and our 20 SMA are really tight. And how I want to trade this is I want to wait for any type of significant move on the stock, and then we're going to trade the 8 SMA. Okay? Or actually, I turned it into a 5 SMA, so it's much, much tighter. And I found when I was looking at replay charts that doing the 5 SMA allowed me to have better opportunities for getting in and out. So we're going to hit play, and I'm basically going to put a red arrow anytime I'm shorting and anytime I'm closing. We're going to put a green arrow. So right now the price is, it's pre-market 812, 814, and this is a sped up timeline. Okay, obviously these candles wouldn't move this fast. This is on a 2-minute chart, but I'm just doing this for speed. So right now, okay, so now it looks like price 824 starting to have a red candle there, and there's a big red candle, breaks below 8, so now we're shorting. Boom, buy or short right here. Okay. Okay, so now we're letting this price go down, and obviously we can just ride this short out the whole way if we want, or we can try to snipe the more shorts and more closes. But we're not going to mix up our trades. We're not going to buy long shares and try to run it back up and then sell those. That starts getting too confusing, and it messes things up on the brokerage. So what we're waiting for is for this price to break above. So there it broke, but we need it to close above. Okay, so look at that one. That was a fake out. We're not touching it. We're still in our short. We're letting it ride. Okay, we're letting this price go down. None of this matters. There, it broke above. Now let's wait. Let's see what happens. Okay. Oh, nope. Keep letting it ride. Keep letting it ride. We need it to close above completely. So now we're still in our short. So that's what I'm saying. It's really easy to like mix these up. You kind of want to just let it ride as much as you can. And this blue line is going to act as resistance if we get back up here at some point. Okay, so there was a move above. Nope. Staying in our trade. We got our finger on the trigger to close this so we can capture. Now we don't have to close it, right? Because our stop loss is all the way up here. So there's our move above, close our trade. We're out. Okay, so now we could stay in this, or at least keep part of our position in if we want, because our stop's up here, and this blue line should act as resistance. So let's see what happens. So it's going, it's touching. What is it doing? It's squeezing, and we're probably going to get ready for another short. Breaks below, and we're going to short that. Okay. So let's keep letting this play out here. So now that's moving above, and we would close our position right there. So this is when it starts getting like, yeah, maybe I should just let my short ride, you know, instead of like buying and selling, buying and selling. So now that's moving up. So now what happens when this moves, if it moves above the 5 SMA? Okay, so now we broke below. Now we're shorting. We're back in on our short. Okay, we're going to let this ride. Let's see what happens here. Keep going. So as you can see, now we're creating more distance, which is good. So our short's still going down. So as you can see how like tight this was, you could have just not closed here if you wanted to and just kept your short in. Because now right here, see that break above? That'd be our close right there. We'd close this trade. Okay. But again, what I was saying is I think it might be better to just short here, have your stop up here. You move your stop down. I'm going to pause this really quick. You want to move your stop down. So let's see, I'm going to write stop on this. So when we open this trade up and we hit our short here, we're going to move our stop right above the candle before. So that's our stop, okay? So that's where our stop would stay. And we're going to remember that this blue line, our 20 SMA, is resistance. So we don't need to worry about anything until this actually breaks above and starts using it as support. So this would be our stop. And after we have another failed on the 5 SMA down here, we're just going to move if you want to. Okay, you don't have to, but move your stop down to here. So that broke through. Now that's our new stop, okay? And it's under our blue 20 SMA, so we're good. So we're going to keep letting this ride, okay? And now, since we've closed our position here, we're going to look for our next. And again, we can move this stop down here as well. Okay, so we'd close this. So we're out of our trade at this point. So none of this matters. We're not buying into this strength. Now we know that ultimately the 20 SMA and the 200 SMA are going to want to become friends again. But we're just going to let this go. And see, by closing here, we're not worried here. We captured our gains from this short. So now look right there, it broke below. Okay, and we're in our short right there. Okay. So that's why I was saying, if the price starts going kind of like left and right and you're opening shorts and closing shorts, it starts getting like, I mean, you're definitely day trading at that point if you're into that thing. But like I said, you can also just hold your piece here and just keep moving your stops. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, you want to close your trade out because you don't know what's going to happen after hours. Now, if you're using something like Robinhood, you might be able to set a limit. I don't know how that works. Okay, so again, right here, this broke above. We closed our trade. So we're going to watch. Looks like it's breaking below again. Nope, it's moving back up. So again, we want to wait for it to close either above or below our 5 SMA. So this is still moving up. We're not worried about it. We're just going to let this trade play out or not play out. It's not a trade. We're not in it. We're not concerned. It's a big red day in the market. Sure, there could be a rally at some point. Okay, we broke below. Let's see. And right here, we're going to be in our short again in this trade. Okay. Again, you see a little bit of the green, but we don't need to worry about it. And look, there's a big flush. We like that because now that's going to pull the 5 SMA and the 20 SMA further apart, bringing us down. And, now that we're in this trade again, what are we going to do? We're going to move our stop over, okay? We want to basically move it above the candle before or any major part up here like this. So that's our stop. So worst case scenario, this comes back up. We miss our thing somehow. We're not paying attention. Okay, so now we're breaking above, getting ready, and we close out of the trade. Okay. Like I said, I haven't looked at this chart. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that it's a day that was a pretty red day. So, but this is just practice for me because I want to be able to live trade, and then we broke below, so we're going to short again. I found that just like any athlete who practices their craft or their sport, you need to practice trading just like you would anything else. So that way that when you're, in the heat of the moment and the candles are moving and the, catalysts are coming in and you're practiced, you know exactly what you're doing. You're you're shorting when it drops below the 5 SMA up, and here's our close if we want to, right? Close. Now look again, resistance. We're going to expect this to be resistance. So this is why I'm saying you don't need to necessarily do all of this. You could literally just hold your short all the way through. And if you want, really just close it when it breaks above the 20 SMA, right? Because here came up a little bit. You can kind of let it play out. If it really closes up, you can close it. So let's see. So now it looks like we're going below again. And we're going to wait on that. And yep. Let's see. I'm like clicking my button to buy. We're waiting. It's really tight. Just trying to figure it out. Yeah, we're going to short that right there. We're just going to let it go. We're going to get ready to close our trade. Big red candle on our volume, which means people are serious here. Okay. We're just going to stay in this trade again until we get a color change over top of our 5 SMA. So that doesn't count yet. We're just going to stay in the trade. There's our color change, and we're out. Okay, we're out right there. Again, now this is probably going to be resistance. So again, we could stay in this trade if we want. So moving forward, I'm going to try that. Okay, so we're going to, right there, we're going to get into our short. And on the next series of plays, we're not going to close this unless it breaks above our 20 SMA, okay? So we're not going to close it here because as you can see, you're shorting here, you're closing here. There's what, 0.5% gap or something. It's great. If you can get these at the beginning of the day, this is where it really counts, all the way down to here. But ultimately, like I said, you want to try to stay in this trade because if you could stay in this trade and ride all the way down here, you're already at an 8% gain on your money. So, in this strategy that I'm trying here is from a video that I saw on YouTube where they said have a 20 SMA high, 20 SMA low, and then I looked at that strategy against. Okay, so now we're breaking above. Okay, so now we want to close it. Okay, we can close right there. It kind of works out too. It's right above, but it just happens to be that. So we're out of that trade. Yeah, so the strategy I saw was these 220 SMAs high and low. And then another one that I was using was the 200 SMA and the 20 SMA, where I noticed in a video the guy uses an 8 SMA as well. So when I was sitting here trying to trade this thing, and again, we're back in right there, okay? When I was trying to trade this thing and he was using an 8 SMA, I noticed that the lines were kind of too far, and you'd be closing this trade all the way up here, and that wasn't working. So I changed it down to a 5 SMA, and it seemed much tighter and worked out better. So now, and I used to have all these other indicators down here. You see all these, and I was trying to like look at this and look at this, and I just realized I don't need any of that. All I need is this 5 SMA, and all I got to do is buy when it's below, short when it's above, right? So here we're going to let this play out. So this is above. We're not going to worry about it, right? Because we're going to pretend this is going to be resistance. So let's see what happens. Now we're getting to the middle of the day. It looks like we're at like 12 o'clock. So price has probably already had most of it selling at this point. So a lot of this is just going to be like not even worth it. Okay. So right there, we're above. Okay. And now we're going to know that as this day goes on, this price is probably going to want to start moving back up a little bit to get closer to our 200 SMA. So here we are. We can short this again. Boom, it broke below. But again, you see this close here, short here. That's so small of a gap that at that point you're just, and then, unless you're using hotkeys and trading within a platform, you might not be getting the best price. Like when this closes, you might be closing up here and then shorting down here, So again, that break right there, that's what we wanted to short that. So that one closed below, we're shorting. And then this is above, but we're not going to worry about it. We're going to wait until it breaks above the blue. We're just going to let these play out at this point. See what happens. And as you can see, the 200 SMA is getting closer. This is getting closer. Eventually, they're going to be friends again. We're pretty close to it. And then it will be 3 a.m., which it is now. So let's speed this thing up if we can. Let's go to one time. Okay, so we would still be in our short here. Letting this ride out. And then this would be our sell. And now look at that big move up, okay? Now they want to be friends, you see? And we're getting to the end of the day. So now the rally's kind of coming at the end of the day. And now this is going to act as support here, typically. Which means if you wanted to potentially go long in this position, you could if it bounces off of this. As you can see here, it hasn't. So you could come back into short. But now that the 200 SMA is below, the 200 SMA is going to act as our support. So right here, you could buy. Okay. Because now we're going to expect this to act as our support. Okay, so this is the end of the day. We're going 5 p.m. Okay, you would close here if this broke below, so you'd basically break even. You'd have your stop loss set, which is why I said, it's probably better not to like flip trades and be shorting and longing, shorting and longing. But again, we could have easily saw this broke. It's shorted here, short over here again. Okay, so now what time is it now? Okay, so now we're up to the time we're at right now. So let's turn off our replay. So now markets are live. Things are moving. Okay. And I could be trading this. Well, I don't know if I could trade owns. Yeah, it's open. So 3:10 a.m. You can see we're on the 2-minute candles. They're not moving as fast as the ones I was trading earlier. Right? But we see this big red candle right here closing. So we get this over here. Bring it over. Now, I don't trade at 3 a.m. in the morning. There's not that much volume. The candles aren't going to move as much. But ultimately, what we want to see is the same thing in the morning. We want to see these prices being close together. If the price isn't close, I'm probably not going to trade it because it's kind of like a trampoline. If you think about it like this, you're the 20 SMA, and the trampoline mat is the 200 SMA. So if you're far apart from the two, well, there's potentially not that much of a bounce that's going to happen either way. But when your body is really close, you can jump up a little bit and boom, bounce off of it and go higher or lower if you're the flip side, right? So yeah, that's our trade.